Yeah, guys, before we get into it, the NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props, 3-pointers to steals to assists. It has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
All right, guys, the Guardians win again, Jason. This is maybe the two most unconventional wins in the history of unconventional wins. They win in the home opener on a walk-off walk. And then they win last night in a way that I did not think was possible. With 2 outs in the ninth, the White Sox get a single to left field with the bases loaded. 1 run scores to make it 3-2. The game-tying run is on his way home when he pulls a hamstring. You can see it here. Mike Tauchman pulls his hammy, comes up limping. It's the easiest tag out in the history of tag outs to end the game. And Jason, I think your text yesterday in the group chat was perfect. Not only do the White Sox suck, they are tragically unlucky. Have you ever seen an ending like this to a baseball game?
That was unbelievable. I couldn't understand why Tauchman was not in the frame when the throw was coming in. I thought he got crossed up in the signal from the third base coach maybe, and I thought they did a nice job pointing out on the broadcast earlier that he was the runner who should have scored on a ball hit to the wall, but he was probably, because he just came off the injured list with the hamstring, because he'd been dealing with the hamstring previously, he was probably trying to go slow and then grabbed on him again at the worst possible time. The bigger story to me in all this is Emmanuel Clase is not right.
Yes.
And he got away with one last night. And you kind of saw the look on his face, on Austin Hedges' face
when
the
game
was over. Like they literally dodged a bullet. So the Guardians have to figure that out. Clase has to figure that out. He's getting hit harder probably than he's ever been at any point since he's been in Cleveland, certainly. And they have to get to the bottom as to the why on that. But
I have a question on that
from
real quick.
Chicago's perspective, that was incredible.
Bull brought this up yesterday, and Jason, I trust your baseball expertise. He said Clase's throwing too many strikes, and guys are jumping on pitches early in the count. That last at bat was a 0-0 count, and Bull's a little concerned that because he's so accurate, which is a strength, it's becoming a little more predictable because guys don't want to get in a 2-strike situation against him where he can break out that vicious slider. Do you believe there could be any correlation between Clase being so accurate that he's getting hit a little harder now?
I think he's missing over the plate more than he was. Usually when he's throwing strikes, he's throwing it on the black and he's keeping it low and he's putting it in spots that are really difficult to make hard contact. And that's why he doesn't strike out a ton of guys, because he's always around the plate. But usually with his cutter, he's put in places that it's just hard to barrel. And this year they've backed off some of the cutter. They're trying to throw a few more sliders because I think Carl Willis felt like the teams were locking in too much on his cutter. Listen, Carl Willis knows more than any of us about this, so I trust him on it. But Mariano Rivera went to the Hall of Fame throwing the cutter, and only the cutter, because he could throw it 100 miles an hour. Obviously, maybe Clase is not to that level, but I think that they're trying to tweak his pitch mix. I think probably the movement on the cutter isn't what it's been. He's missed his spots at times. Some of it has been unlucky. We talked about on opening day. A lot of times he hit his spots, and it was just getting they were just getting hits off it. And the locations were similar to where he threw it last year. And Jay had mentioned, but it was flat. So ultimately, though, they have to figure this out, because guys are making more contact off him than they ever have before. It's really going to disrupt the entire flow of the bullpen if this doesn't get settled. I worry about where he is mentally. We talked about last year with the Instagram videos when he got hit around in the postseason, and I just wonder if he's come back from that yet or not, because the more he gets hit, the more it's going to jar his confidence.
Ty, are you worried about Clase? I mean, this is not a great start for a guy who did not finish the season strong in the postseason.
The thing about him is this is a guy that we were all lobbying for last year for the Cy Young. Now granted, Tarek Skubal should have won it, and he did win it, but a lot of people was like, Clase got a real legit chance because he was just pitching that well.
He had no business winning the Cy Young award.
He had an incredible season for a
it.
closer,
He had
but
no
was
business
not
winning.
Cy Young. Yeah.
You don't win the Cy Young
He
pitching
was
1 inning.
He was incredible.
He was.
The
He
one
was-
inning was
He
incredible.
was fantastic last
And
year.
to see
That's
where
not worthy
we
of the
are
Cy Young.
now, it's like I think a lot of people are right. Like if me being the amateur swinger that I am, at the
you are a swinger. You and Director Steve.
No, not that type of swinger. Not
You
that
said
type
it,
of
not
swinger.
me.
Not
You
that
said
type
you
of
said
swinger.
amateur.
You're the wrong
I don't do what Steve does.
You're
Steve
the
does
wrong
different
kind of
type of. He's in a different type of camp. But me at the plate, like if I was
Steve isn't actually a swinger. Can we?
Yeah, Steve's not yet.
For the record,
We love you, Steve.
Tyvus is the wrong kind of swinger.
Is it confirmed? Anyways, listen, if I was going up against Clase right now, like I probably just swing at every pitch because of the fact that he doesn't throw a lot of balls. He throws a lot of strikes. And I think a lot of people are realizing that, and that's why he's getting hit right now. They're getting lucky. I tell you what, though, outside of him, I know the weather's bad, but the hitting is really starting to bother me a little bit that we not getting his. Although my boy Big Christmas had a decent game yesterday, so there you go.
I do think the weather has a lot to do with it. Bats heat up as the temperature heats up. It sucks hitting in the cold. It's miserable. It's advantage pitchers.
Well, we had like 2 people hit the ball.
They have, Jason, 2 games against the White Sox, which is a 4A team.
Yeah.
They have 6 combined hits. They have 2 wins, granted.
Yeah.
And 4 runs and 6 hits in 2 games.
It's the fact that because Bull was sitting there talking about he was talking about how the pitcher, they don't have any pitching right now.
I think their pitching may be better than we are giving it credit for. I'm not ready to declare it yet, but I do think, like the guy who pitched yesterday, Burke, was
Sean
their
Burke.
opening. Yeah, he was their opening day starter. He was decent down the stretch last year. The guy who threw the opener, Shane Smith, was a Rule 5 pick from the Brewers.
That's what Bull said.
So there's not a lot of data on him yet. Their lineup is horrendous. Chicago's lineup is awful. But I wonder if they have just a smidge more pitching. Burke was great on opening day. He got hit around in his second start.
It was okay yesterday.
Burke was great in Chicago's opener. Smith has been good in his 2 starts. It's early. It's really, really early. As teams get a scouting report on them, they may have ERAs. I think Burke's ERA is over 5 now, and Smith may be over 5 as well. So I could be way off on that because we just don't have a big sample size. But I do wonder if their pitching might be just a little bit better than we thought. Not saying they're great, not saying they're going to win 80 games.
So let me ask you this: if the temperature was 75 degrees outside, do you think these games would still be close?
I think the Guardians' offense would be better.
Okay.
I think the wind knocks down some of these balls that in the summertime get out.
Heck, it might get rained out today.
They play at 1:10 today. Gavin Williams on the bump for the Guards. It's a chance to get a series sweep, and I don't care how you win games in baseball. There's 162 games. Any chance and any opportunity you get to win a game that you can actually pull out a win is a good win. Gavin Williams, 8 innings pitched this season, Jason, 7 strikeouts, 4 walks, his whip at 1.63. It's a great chance against a terrible lineup for Gavin Williams to show us some of the promise that we had 2 seasons ago from the top prospect in the organization. I know he struggled a bit last year, but today feels like a great game to put the start of a really strong 2025 season on tape.
Yeah, it is. Luis Robert is the only hitter that you really have to fear in Chicago's lineup. Andrew Vaughn was a top prospect at one time. He's never really been able to put the wheels on his career fully. Gavin, Brian Rocchio, and Bo Naylor are 3 guys that I expected to take a leap this year to varying degrees. I think Gavin Williams should take the biggest leap of all of them. I do think Naylor should sort of return to the player that they thought they were getting. And Rocchio as well. I thought Rocchio could really capitalize off the postseason that he had and really sort of break through. Hasn't happened yet, but again, it's really cold. It's really hard to hit in the cold. You really have to get into the end of April and into May before you can really sort of make any sort of judgment on where these guys are at.
We saw, and we talked about this yesterday, in the series opener on Tuesday, Nolan Jones had 2 106-plus exit velos that were hit right at guys.
Yeah.
And I said yesterday on the show, he's a guy you see at least putting good at-bats together, drew the game-winning walk, and then he came back yesterday, didn't have a hit, which, fine, whatever. But he's
You know
off
who
to a
did, though,
disappointing
right?
season. Big Christmas had 2. He's now 3 of 21 on the season.
Hey.
Yeah,
I didn't need you to put that out there.
I'm just telling the truth.
He went 2
I
for 4
spit facts.
yesterday. Just leave it at that.
No, I think Nolan. Finish your point. Sorry.
But my point is, if you noticed anyone else in the Guardians lineup that, despite the fact the hit numbers and the run numbers aren't there, has been putting together good enough at bats that give you a little sense that, hey, this guy might be right in the precipice of turning the corner.
Rocchio's expected on base average is significantly higher than what his actual is, so that's one guy I would kind of point to. Nolan's another one. I think Nolan needs to play every day. Sorry, I know you. I know.
What's wrong with you?
I don't like John Kenzie's approach to
until
too
he
many
hit
bats.
the ball and then go over the fence.
We were watching one of his at bats the other day. I can't remember. It might have been the Kansas City. Might have been the Royals series. And my son and I were laying on the couch watching the game, and they threw a slider down, and John Kenzie was 6 feet out in front of it. And I said, "What do you think he's going to throw next?" He said, "Slider." Next pitch, same exact thing. Next pitch, same exact thing. I just don't like his approach. If they leave a fastball over the middle of the plate, he can hit it 718 feet off the Huntington Bank building. But short of that, I just think I think Nolan needs to play every day. I want to see him against lefties. I want to see if he's an everyday player. I think he is. I think he can be. And John Kenzie, I'm sorry.
You're wrong.
It's a great story.
You're wrong. No, it ain't no great story. I don't want to hear that.
John Kenzie can be a pinch hitter off the bench, a right-handed pinch hitter off the bench. I don't know that. He had great moments for that team in the postseason last year, but I just think Nolan Jones.
Last guy I want to ask about before we bring our guest in. Carlos Santana hit a home run last night.
Yeah.
He's batting .286 as one of the higher OPSs on the team. It's early. Granted, it's incredibly early, but he's at least filling some of the shoes that have been left behind from Josh Naylor. And
Naylor's also raking.
I know. I didn't want to bring that part up. But compared to some of the other stat sheets we put up on the screen, that one at least looks palatable. And it was nice to see Santana the day after his birthday put one out of the park to get the Guardians off on a hot start.
I think there was concern that he could fall off a cliff this year just because of his age. We talked about it at the time. I totally understand why they made the move that they did. They were not going to re-sign Naylor. If you can get something for the asset and you can create another asset in free agency that's similar, he's not as good offensively as Naylor. He's much better defensively than Naylor. And so far, at least, he's held his own as a veteran in the middle of the order, so hopefully that continues.
They shouldn't have touched the lineup. They should have kept everybody from last year. That's where I'm at.
Well, I get the Hemi trade because of the future money owed. I totally get it, and Bazana coming.
Nope.
I get why they did it with Naylor. I'm not saying I agree with it. I understand it. The Naylor thing especially, I would like to have seen him keep Josh.
Yeah.
Just like John Kenzie, you're wrong about this too.